Okay, this little book, upside down, it has some meaning. It's really a treasure. It was given to me by late Nussi, rest in peace. When I started reading it, I discovered that the man is trying to. Well, first, it was written in the year 1944. Remember this date, +1. It will be clear at the end. He tries to deal with the confrontation between science and religion, and also evaluate the impacts of 19th century ideas upon 20th century thoughts and events. To introduce the man, he's Mr. Kenneth MacFarlane, I suppose Scottish, Walker, born 1882, died 1966, actually the year in which the English got the World Cup. He is an author, philosopher, and a surgeon. So he's a scientist, a philosopher, and also, I think, a man of religion, a man who believes in some divine or spirit, you know. But before we dwell into this ocean of knowledge and wisdom, I think we should begin with defining the axioms of the scientific approach, which you probably know, which are observation, hypothesis, experiments, and theory. You could also add one of the characteristics of science is that it is quantitative. That is, we have, because I'm also a scientist, I did much biology and mathematics, the acronym MLS, that is meter, liter, and second. So suppose you have 2 meters, 20 liters, 30 seconds, a flood, God forbid. Okay, hardline scientists of the 19th century believed in a straight line between science, truth, and happiness of mankind. They thought that if you are a scientist, you have discovered the only truth, that you can achieve the happiness of mankind. Let's just go directly to dive into this ocean. On page 7, please be patient, he speaks about himself as a scientist. He says, "My mind was incarcerated within the narrow confines of some doctrine such as the scientific materialism." So his mind was imprisoned by this, what you might call the positive thing, science and materialism, but everything is material. I'm not talking about drama, about money, no. That is, the world is made up of atoms and man is made up of Schon, the 4 atoms. On page 9, he mentions the great German poets. And the problem with Goethe is that people heard his philosophy and they thought he's just a poet, he's just giving us some fantasy. But in fact, Goethe was a poet, philosopher, and a scientist. Everything had to be concrete to be real, but Mr. Walker gives us the metaphor. We regard the paper on which we write down our thoughts as having a reality which must be denied to the thoughts and emotions. That is, when you're writing a book, the paper is more important than the idea. This is for the hardline scientists of the 19th century. And this sort of narcissism or even nihilism that made things devoid of meaning, adopting the nihilistic philosophy of meaninglessness, right? They were concrete and then they turned into nothingness. And they thought the 19th century scientist, that religion is an obstacle to progress. If you're religious, no progress. And the champions of this materialistic view were three: Darwin, Freud, and Marx. What does he say about Darwin? On page 35, he says, please be patient with me. The return of a young journalist on October 2nd, 1836, from a 5-year voyage on HMS Beagle did not appear at the time to be a very notable event, except perhaps for the relatives awaiting his arrival, but actually it was to have important consequences for the thought of the next 100 years. He had a big impact with his theory of natural selection. This is Mr. Darwin. Now, on page 70, he moves to the psychiatrist Mr. Sigmund Freud. Page 70, yes, page 70. So this is another champion of the materialistic philosophy of the 19th century. The psychology of Freud cannot be looked upon as being truly scientific, for it is derived from introspection. Remember, science is quantitative. How can you quantify something imaginary, dreams, nightmares, etc.? This is the first thing. It works by inferences drawn from the observation. It doesn't draw inferences from observable external phenomena. This is one. Number two, it is the product of consulting rooms of the departments of psychiatrist hospitals. So therefore, strictly speaking, it's a psychopathology. It's psychology of the sick, not of the sane, like myself. Now, the scientist, according to Kenneth Walker, he gives us a metaphor of the traveler. On page 79, he says that the scientist may be likened to a man who travels along a well-marked road, looking neither to the right hand nor to the left, and without raising his eyes from the ground. So he's missing a lot. He's on a straight line, beaten track, but he's not seeing the whole picture. Now, he says, yes, the scientist is different from the politician, whereas no politician is likely to be successful if he remains scrupulously honest. No scientist will be successful, if you like, if he did otherwise. So the politician can lie, but not the scientist. But still, his truth is not complete. Now, moving to Mr. Karl Marx on page 138, it says something very important. Remember that Marx suggested dialectical materialism and that religion is the opium of the people. But according to Mr. Walker, communism is a better substitute for religion than is race worship. So communism is better than racism or nationalism or Nazism or whatever. But it has become like a religion, possessing its sacred doctrines, orthodoxies, heresies, prophets, saints, and martyrs, its ceremonials and its festivals, etc. It's another religion, right? Well, Mr. Kenneth Walker suggests that maybe truth is not just one. It could be deduced from other things. Not everything is quantitative, because how would you quantify music, beauty, love? No way. So he suggests a solution, which is to be found on page 162. Please, again, be patient. He says, well, knowledge can be handed down orally as it is contained in the Vedas, that is the sacred book of the Hindus, the Tao, that is Lao Tzu in China, or even in Christianity and Mohammedanism. I cannot pronounce this word. For Mohammedanism, he suggests that he means Islam. And this reminds me of an American woman I met in Washington, and she said the Prophet Muhammad, for her, he was just a genius, Muhammad. He married a Christian woman. She helped him translate the Bible into the Quran, and he made up Islam. No. A prophet cannot be a liar, be it Moses, Jesus, Muhammad. Their lives were in danger all the time, and a liar cannot be in danger and still continue with his message. The politician can be a liar, as he suggests, Mr. Kenneth Walker, on page 80. He says that I think I read it for you already, but I'll read it again because it's important. No politician is likely to be successful if he remains scrupulously honest. That is, the politicians, most of them are liars. And this is the result.